Chris, where are we here?
I believe we're here to talk about 1932's The Island of Lost Souls.
Wrong.
Is it The Island of Dr. Moreau from 1977?
Nope. We're here to talk about The Island of Dr. Moreau from 1996.
Oh, yeah, I never saw that one.
Probably because it's a piece of shit.
Well, what's so bad about it? Look at these people! Look at him! Oh my God.
Look at these people! Look at him!
Now, here are my initial thoughts on this movie. I remember it. And I remember it for one reason. Val Kilmer was kind of at the top of his game.
This is the peak of Val Kilmer's career.
And I was like, okay, I know who Val Kilmer is. He's been in a lot of good movies like Tombstone and Doors. Okay, I'll see this movie. And Marlon Brando was in it. I was like, all right, Val Kilmer and Marlon Brando. I'll go see this movie.
I remember hearing about the production woes all like before this movie came out. So like I knew it was going to be bad. And I just never saw it.
And a lot of people were probably like, it was a blur, right? It was like this movie kind of came and went. But the interesting part of this movie to me is the directors. And yes. I say directors, plural.
Can we just start off the bat by saying the behind the scenes turmoil of this film is way more interesting than the movie itself.
Far more interesting.
Way more interesting.
We're going to talk about a documentary. We won't go into that right now. But
if you haven't seen it, yes.
If you haven't seen it, there is a documentary. We'll get to it. But let's talk about this movie a little bit more. So the director that was lined up to actually helm this is...
Yeah, he's a South African, I think with British ancestry. His name is Richard Stanley. He was a huge fan of this book. The original book, Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells.
So he was lined up to direct it. He wrote it.
Like George Lucas with Star Wars, he hired a conceptual artist to draw and create what the creatures in the film would look like and to help sell it. New Line Cinema became interested in it based on the conceptual art.
But he was known for a few sort of interesting films.
Yeah. I've never seen them. They kind of like hit like the indie sort of sci-fi.
Definitely sci-fi.
Scene at the time. One's called Hardware.
Yep.
Which I've never seen either of them. Another one's called Dust Devil. Industry people saw them and were kind of impressed with him.
Did he sell himself really to do this particular story? Was it
he wanted to tell the story on film. He was a huge fan of the book.
I want to do an up-to-date version of this. I have a great vision for it.
This was a passion project for him.
Passion project. But he was eccentric.
Knowing that the odds were stacked against me, I resorted to witchcraft.
I think he was probably toking some weed a lot. Maybe doing some like shrooms and peyote at the time.
But if you see him interviewed, he seems like he's just sort of on the shrooms all the time.
I think he's very into like the supernatural.
A very quirky guy. So Richard Stanley was eventually replaced, as you will learn more about, by a guy named John Frankenheimer.
An old vet. Old school, like barking orders at actors type of director.
And he was known for some pretty big films.
Yeah, the original Manchurian Candidate, which is a great film. Seconds with Rock Hudson, which is a good like quasi sci-fi movie. And Black Sunday.
Yep.
From this 1977.
I have to point out, Black Sunday has a score by John Williams. Amazingly, the same year that he did back-to-back Star Wars and Close Encounters, but the year I think started out with
Black Sunday.
Black Sunday. Amazing that this man wrote 3 scores, 2 of which were Star Wars and Close Encounters. Blows my mind.
Yeah, but to quote The Force Awakens, that's a story for another time.
In other words, we'll never revisit the story.
Exactly.
I beg you, please do not confuse them.
Let's get into this. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about the cast. So getting back to Val Kilmer, and this is, first of all, a sad story about Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer just died a couple months ago.
He was doing some sort of Mark Twain stage performance thing. It was kind of interesting. It was like a story of Mark Twain. He was on stage and he was doing it for a while, and he started like losing his voice. He like coughed up blood. It turned out that it was throat cancer. Did you know that he was not, he was a Christian Scientist?
I did not know that.
And he refused medical care. So sad story. He eventually died, though, of pneumonia.
Oh, is that it?
So when you look at Val Kilmer's career, he had this early 80s spike. Like,
No, more like mid 80s.
well, no. Yes, mid 80s. 1984, Top Secret comes out.
And he's really funny in it.
And I love Top Secret.
Yeah,
I think it's
great.
great. Then he does Real
Take
Genius.
very good care of this young man. He's one of the 10 finest minds in the country.
Someday I hope to be 2 of them. You are very beautiful.
Thank you.
Top Gun was 86.
You can be my wingman anytime.
That's what popularized him to the masses.
Totally. Yeah,
What
totally.
was his name? Ice Pick?
Iceman.
Iceman.
Ice Pick.
I have not seen Top Gun, full disclosure, since it came out in the 80s. I fucking hate that movie. I'm
Ice
sorry.
I'm Ice Pick. Anyway, he goes on to do like some indie films, and they're pretty decent. And then, of course, he does The Doors.
The movie is like
Yeah,
horribly uneven, but he's really good as Jim Morrison.
he's excellent. Of course, Tombstone.
Oh, yeah, right.
Doc Holliday kind of
One of
popularizes
the most
him.
overrated movies of the 90s. as far as I'm
Overrated
concerned,
except for him.
I'm your huckleberry.
This actor's actually not bad in these sort of mediocre films.
he's really mediocre in a bad film, Batman Forever.
Good point. And then he gets cast in The Island of Dr. Moreau. Why? Because you got Marlon Brando.
He wanted to work with Brando. We find out that a lot of the people who signed on to this film did it because they wanted to work with Brando.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
Oh, well, I can tell you very plainly. No, please don't do that.
They wanted Brando because of the big name, but he wasn't a big movie star.
That's what I do not understand. Yes, he's like this legendary actor, but he was not a box office draw, known for being difficult to work with
And freaking weird.
and expensive. So I don't understand why, even at this point, the studio is willing to like fork over all this cash for Marlon Brando.
And we should mention that's why they wanted Kilmer. Because they needed the box office draw with
Right. They needed Brando's clout and Kilmer's box office.
What they didn't know is what a double pain in the ass it was to have Marlon Brando.
The two of them
and Val Kilmer.
would, at various different stages, sabotage the movie as it
Yeah.
went along.
They're
Separate
both-
from all the other shit that would go on
Yes.
outside of it.
And then who else do you have as, let's just call him the lead, because he is.
He's the main character in the book.
David Thewlis.
David Thewlis, who's a really good actor. He was in a movie 2 years before this called Naked, written and directed by Mike Leigh, which is one of my favorite films of the 90s. I would actually like to do a second look on that one of these days. And later, he ended up being in the Harry Potter movies.
He wasn't the Ginger family's dad.
He was the Professor Lupin. That's who it was.
Okay. I don't
Perfectly named because he turns into a werewolf.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So Thewlis is fine in this, but not really. The whole movie
He does the best he can.
He does
with
the
what
best
he's
he
given.
can with a mediocre script. Ultimately,
Well, everybody's just over their heads. They're in this like inhospitable location in the north of Australia. On the Australian coast.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of like the jungle, and they had to like hew out like huge sections of it to build this set.
Yeah.
And so like everybody's kind of miserable there, and then you've got Marlon Brando holding up the production. As one person says in the documentary,
Marlon was there with his legendary contempt for what he does for a living.
it's a great line. I forget who says it, but somebody says it in that documentary. It's perfect. But he
And-
would still take the millions of dollars that was being paid for him, not giving a shit about any of the crew or workers or like extras. That
I counted. He was only in like 7 scenes. It's all Brando did. Again, I just don't understand why he's worth it.
And he's clearly, you can tell he's got an earpiece. You can see the earpiece in certain shots. He's been having his lines fed to him, and you can clearly tell that he's, mouthing these lines. Precursor to the Bruce Willis movies from recently, those terrible red box movies that he kept making.
You have such beautiful hands. So beautiful.
Feyruza Balk, yeah.
So she the only thing I really know her in, me personally, is American History X.
Yeah.
She's the girlfriend of Edward Norton.
Edward Norton.
Oh, she's also in the movie Almost Famous.
She's one of the groupies.
She's like one of the groupies.
Yeah, I remember her from, she played Dorothy in Return to Oz. Kind of a forgotten gem from the 80s. Scary as hell.
The cast is interesting enough. Like, I think it could have been, if the writing was better and the directing wasn't so fucked up.
Well, I think the writing's there. If maybe like Stanley had just been like let to direct his own script, maybe an interesting movie could have made out of it. Frankenheimer brought somebody in to like then doctor it even more. The final product is the screenplay is an incoherent mess. The main character, Douglas, just kind of shambles through the entire thing, and he pops up at various points, and then he disappears again, and then he suddenly is in this room.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
It's just like this weird mishmash collage of scenes that don't connect.
Yeah, David Thewlis as the lead character, you'll see him, he's like dealing with something, and then suddenly next scene he's like just chilling out.
Or he's gone for a while.
Or he's gone for a while. And then suddenly he's appearing at a moment where he needs to witness something. And then suddenly after that, he's just chilling out again.
Or he just went through some like very like traumatic moment, and then the next scene he's just sort of sitting
smoking
in a chair,
a cigarette, relaxed. Who knows? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. The production was in giant mess. One of the best crazy production stories ever.
The only thing that rivals this as far as like just a mess of a production might be Jaws, but that turned out to be
yeah, actually okay. I love that, because Jaws was kind of a mess that ended up being brilliant. This was kind of a mess, and it ended up being...
What's worse than a mess?
Well, it belongs in the junkyard.
Yeah, right.
And so here we are. Richard Stanley was fired.
Early on, like I think by the end of the first week of filming.
The interesting thing about his firing, though, is that the actors got used to him, and they were not happy about it. He
bonded with Feruza
He did, very much so. Val Kilmer did not like him, but he also hated the replacement director.
Frankenheimer hated him, too.
Well, we'll get into that. So the thing about Richard Stanley, he's definitely awkward.
He's eccentric.
He has trouble communicating. He may very well be a smart guy.
I think he is.
He was very passionate about the writing.
I think he had a clear vision of this story.
But he had no sense of how you please the executives. How do you stay on schedule, under budget, and you demonstrate that to the people who are writing your check?
He had no idea how to like deal with studio protocol.
Right. And it was pretty much a disaster to the point where they're like, this guy cannot be the director of this movie.
I just think it was a bad decision to replace him. They should have stuck with him.
I think he would have seen a guy move very slowly and never learn that you got to move faster. I think he would have been a challenge. So I don't necessarily disagree with the idea of replacing him. I just think it turned into a horrible production because of it.
That's the tip of this iceberg, of the shit iceberg.
Yeah. Val Kilmer, I think, was only scheduled to be 50 days or something like that, or 40 days. So he was not there the whole time. But he made it a pain in the ass for everybody.
And wasn't he originally supposed to be the main character?
Yes. But he didn't want to have to do a certain amount of days of shooting. So they said, fuck that. You get to be the side character,
Montgomery,
and we'll still pay you tons of money. What a fucked up production. And then
Marlon Brando's daughter committed suicide, which delayed the production even more.
By months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the movie gets delayed. Actors change. You finally have your lineup. David Thewlis, Val Kilmer, Marlon Brando. Things work out for the schedule. Everyone starts working. So he gets fired. People are pissed off. Some people are like, good, whatever. But the script is a mess.
Everything's a mess.
There's the ego issue you talked about.
Two of the biggest egos probably in acting at that point. Probably.
I have to say, I did not know that Val Kilmer
was that much of a dick.
Was known as a dick. I've heard mixed stories about whether actors thought he was a dick.
If you watch the documentary, this pretty much confirms it.
Yeah. There was one moment where he refused, I think, to come out of his trailer.
He wouldn't come out until Brando would come out.
And Brando wouldn't come out until Val came out.
Yeah, ridiculous.
What a nightmare.
Meanwhile, all these extras with their creature makeup on or just have to sit in the hot sun waiting for these two assholes to like finally like get off their asses and do something.
Another interesting part of the production is that the extras went nuts.
They couldn't get out of their like prosthetics.
Right, but they were standing around all the time. They were pissed off. They were tired, heat exhausted. They would come back. They would party and wait around and party some more.
Most of them like were only supposed to be there for like a couple weeks, and they ended up being there for 6 months.
6 months. I think there were orgies. I think there was a lot of alcohol, a lot of other drugs. Here's where it gets interesting. During the production, Stanley decided to stay in the area. I don't know if he was depressed. I don't know if he just wanted to like be close to where the production was. I don't know if he was confused. I don't know if he was drug induced. It doesn't matter.
The studio wanted him to make sure he was out of the country, and he disappeared.
And he ends up hanging out with who? The extras.
And I think they liked him before he was fired too.
They did. And he ends up partying with them, doing drugs with them. He ends up dressing up secretly as one of the animals on the island of Dr. Moreau.
Like a dog man or something.
He's like a dog face guy. And he ends up in some of the shots. The fire director.
Interacting with Frankenheimer at certain points too.
With Frankenheimer not knowing it, the guy is is one of the extras. It's crazy.
Who do you think you're gonna call? You gonna sell Ace to the circus?
All right, let's get into this kind of ridiculous plot.
Well, I don't know if the plot is ridiculous. The screenplay is ridiculous.
It really doesn't make much sense.
No, it's incoherent. Because I could not follow this movie while we were watching it.
This will help. So, you're in the sea.
Yes. Well, before that, let's get into the seizure-inducing opening credits.
The seizure-inducing.
You can't even follow, like the titles. Quick cuts with, like, shots of, like, gene splicing and cell manipulation and who knows what else is, like, subconsciously, like, spliced in there.
After that, you're in the sea.
There's survivors of some accident in a raft.
But they decide to have two guys in the raft with them battling to the death.
It's comical. To start your movie this way is ridiculous.
There's not enough room on this tiny little raft for all this fighting.
Yeah, they would be so capsized by now.
I think there's a shark even.
Which is clearly like stock footage or like footage shot elsewhere at a different time.
They both fall in. You think that's it.
But no. Why do you need a jump scare in the first 5 minutes?
It's also not scary because we laughed.
No. Just have the character, wash ashore on Dr. Moreau's island. That's how the original 1977 movie started.
And through exposition, you could say, I was on this ship or on this boat.
Don't forget, actually, there is like voiceover narration that comes and goes.
Oh, that's right.
The movie.
On the 6th or 7th day, the two men who had survived with me began to fight over the last canteen of water.
I'll spare you the story of the two men that fought a bloody knife fight and then tried to kill me.
Strangely, our dinghy didn't capsize.
The raft, he's barely alive, is picked up by a boat. You meet the character played by Val Kilmer, Montgomery. You don't know really who he is.
There's one legit funny line.
Are you a doctor?
Well, I'm more like a vet.
It's a legit funny line.
All right, it is. All right. They get to the island. You meet Catwoman, or Catgirl.
Fairuza Balk.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know she's Catgirl yet.
Well, whatever.
Panther Woman or whatever. She's doing like some sort of dance.
Erotic dance. David Thewlis is fascinated.
They have no chemistry. I'm not sure if it's the chemistry that's off or that's badly written.
Chris,
it's hard to tell.
It doesn't matter. Thewlis is taken to a hotel room or a fantasy island type room. Val Kilmer shuts the door. He locks it.
This is for your own good.
Instead of saying like, "What the fuck? Why are you locking me in here?"
Right. Exactly.
Instead, that's just the end of the scene.
He gets out of the room at some point. He sneaks in and he sees this very mysterious situation involving surgery.
Oh yeah, there's like a barn or something.
This is where you see the science of what's going on.
The interior set does not match what we're seeing as the exterior set.
No, not at all.
Complete mismatch.
Yeah. And a weird surgery is going on, and it has to do with obviously a half animal, half something, half human, half whatever. We don't really actually have a clear picture. They see him spying, and they chase him, and there's a hunt. It's daylight.
Yeah. Day for not night.
Was that just laziness? Like,
yeah.
Okay. Let's just make it light now. You sort of see this other part of the island.
Other creatures
Yeah.
that are outside of the Dr. Moreau camp. We don't really find out what they're about. Dr. Moreau's experimenting on these animal/human creatures, and it's not clear what the fuck they are.
Is he trying to make animals more human? Is he trying to combine different animals together? Is he trying to make humans more like animals or animals more like human? Like, what is he doing?
In the H.G. Wells book, Dr. Moreau is turning animals into humans. That's very clear. In this movie,
it's not clear.
It's a fucking incoherent mess.
Yeah.
I don't know. At one point, they're hybrids, and it's like, so you find out that Dr. Moreau's been on this island for 17 years, and like, how have like the society of hybrids evolved in this time? It's
a mess. And so this is like just people that left
rejects, I'm guessing.
All
There's
humans.
like a priest or a lawgiver or somebody that's down there.
There's a little planet
played by Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman, that's right.
Where did Dr. Moreau get all these random animals on this island?
I don't know.
To experiment on.
By the way, some of the animals are nice. They're sort of a Planet of the Apes vibe, where like there's like the nicer.
There's some sympathetic ones.
Nothing was said of my attempted escape.
Suddenly there's voiceover narration. It's the first time we've had voiceover since like opening scene.
You meet the doctor. He's covered in white makeup.
Which was Marlon Brando's idea. He just showed up to the set covered in white makeup. And Frankenheimer's like, okay, sure.
Sure, whatever. Action!
And he's brought in like a god, you know, in this like big procession.
And I think that is part of the movie, is that he is a god figure.
Yeah, that's part of the book, is that he is this, like, he's trying to, like, he wants to become God amongst these creatures.
Right.
For 17 years, I have been striving to create some measure of refinement in the human species, you see.
Why is Val Kilmer even in this movie?
No idea. You could easily have cut him out. Moreau's family, which are his family of hybrid creatures, somehow.
Yeah.
It's not clear.
Who are his children and who
Well,
are
Fairuza Balk is supposedly his daughter.
She is. And
Like, biological daughter?
I don't know.
Did Dr. Moreau fuck somebody?
I don't know.
Producer? Like Palpatine?
They
fucked
never
somebody?
say this was the mom of these animal children. They never do that.
They just are in existence somehow.
It's ambiguous. And a famous one is there. Famous in terms of like popular culture.
What he became, yes.
Yes.
We're talking about the mini-me here.
Mini-me.
Again, this is another fascinating part of the documentary. But Marlon Brando became fixated on this little actor who was just supposed to be an extra on the set.
He's like French.
No, he's Spanish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Spanish.
He's Spanish. And he's
Nelson
like,
de la Rosa.
He's disfigured. He's a
little person.
Very little person. He really loved him, appreciated him,
but
and wanted him to be in every single scene. Any scene I'm in, which by the way is like 7 scenes, I want Mini-Me, this little guy, to be in the scene with me, dressed the same way.
So they had to cut out this one character who wears a white jacket throughout I forget his name. So they actually took all of his lines or all of his scenes and gave them to like Nelson Mini-Me.
I thought I had a problem with Kilmer. No, I had a problem with the smallest man in the world. And I lost to him. That's something.
The funny thing about Mini-Me is that in pop culture, several things happen.
South Park picked up on this immediately.
Yeah. South Park.
Dr. Mephisto.
Wait, what are you taking Stan's blood for?
Oh, pardon me, I tripped. Could I have some hair, please?
Watch out, Stan! Genetic engineers are crazy! Come on, Flappy!
Austin Powers. Absolutely.
What if God was one of us?
This is probably his idea, right?
Go, go, go. Good girl. Good girl. Hi, sweetie.
That'd be great if I like fed them like birds.
That leads to basically the drama of the animals. They're trying to be non-animals, but they're animals.
They're struggling with their quasi-humanity that they've been granted.
They're not supposed to eat meat.
But one does, apparently.
Yeah, one does. He's punished. Other animals are like, oh, I'm confused.
He keeps them in line by, there's like some sort of electronic shock system, a little chip that he's implanted in all of them. So like when they act up, he has a little like remote control that he pushes.
Rather remote control.
Shock them.
Eventually, the hyena is the one who rallies some other animals around him. He removes the implant.
He figures out the chip and is able to remove it, rip it out of his body.
Pain, no more.
That leads to the death scene. Marlon Brando's gone. You know why Brando could put on white makeup and dress however he wanted? Because he knew he had 7 scenes.
Oh, we forgot to mention that
The
ice bucket scene.
The ice bucket scene.
Yeah. Which was Marlon Brando's idea again.
That's so weird.
Well, because it was hot and he's obese.
So
and needed to cool down. So he's like, "Can't she just pull ice into the bucket on my head?"
Yeah.
And Frankenheimer was like, "Sure, okay," and did it.
Ridiculous. That leads to the hyena coup.
A hyena coup.
The coup
That should be a thing. Hashtag hyena coup.
Hyena coup. The coup happens. Brando's dead.
But it's not really clear, like, which of the creatures are with the hyena coup.
It doesn't matter.
It
doesn't matter. That's when David Thewlis shows up just in time to see
He suddenly shows up again. Yeah.
He just wanders in.
Like he just woke up or something.
And then before that, he was like smoking a cigarette, chilling. At some point, Val Kilmer's talking like Brando.
Yes. After Brando's death, we don't get any sort of like reasoning for this.
No real transition.
There's no setup for this.
There's no transition.
There's no setup.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he just is. All of a sudden, Moreau's character.
I give all my gifts to feed the poor. And though I give my body to be burned and have my charity.
I think he
seems pretty high. Yeah.
He does a killer Brando impression.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give him that.
He sounds like Brando. It's great.
And I think David Thewlis is drunk. By the way, there are also shots of David Thewlis just kind of reacting, and I think that's just him naturally as an actor reacting to the shit going on the set. I don't think that's actually acting.
We should point out that this is what we were saying earlier. He just meanders.
He finds out that they've been using his blood to create a serum to suppress the other creatures like animal nature. And that becomes like his big sort of driving factor. And then all of a sudden the next scene, he's just like sort of chilling again.
By the way, we're spending way too much time on a plot for a movie that's basically nonsense.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of meandering in this movie. At the end, is there some attempt at hope?
It's where the voiceover returns again. So all of a sudden there's a raft or a boat that's somehow that why didn't he go on this raft earlier?
He can get off the island.
And he's like, I hope I never have to see any of these creatures again, and maybe they'll kill each other. That's basically his voiceover.
But meanwhile, there's some nice animals saying goodbye to him.
Yeah, Ron Perlman is.
I think they want him to stay.
They need a god.
Yeah,
a human god.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Fuck that! I'm out of here.
I'm out of here." So there's really no hope for the nice animals.
No, it's bleak. Like. These animals should not have been like brought into existence.
I set it down, leaving out only the latitude and longitude of the island, as a warning to all who would follow in Moreau's footsteps.
Their time on the shoot shouldn't have felt that long, or shouldn't have been that long.
Now, is this movie fun to watch?
Here's my thought. So my first question to you was going to be, does this movie belong in the junkyard? And I say absolutely 100%. Yes.
Yes, this is a terrible movie, just with the hubris of the actors, starting with Marlon Brando, and just the terrible decisions made around him.
Yeah.
It's an incoherent screenplay.
Anytime you have a fired director or replacement director with revolt with some of the actors, you're going to have some.
Yeah, that's a red flag immediately right there for sure.
But is it fun to watch? I'm going to say no.
It's not fun to watch.
It's kind of just a bad movie. But an interesting thing happened. And you and I experienced this together.
As we've mentioned many times.
Yeah.
We watched
a documentary. Again, what is the documentary called?
Lost Soul, The Doomed Journey of Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Moreau.
I recommend that you actually watch The Island of Dr. Moreau from 1996 and then watch this documentary because it's fascinating. It's a crazy production.
Heart of Darkness, the documentary about the making of Apocalypse Now, is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
That movie turned out to be great.
Yeah.
Where this is like a piece of shit.
And that's what we were talking about with Jaws. The difference is it's a freaking great movie.
That's a masterpiece.
But same idea. If you watch the movie and then watch the making of, it's just as interesting to watch a piece of shit.
So I had never seen Island of Dr. Moreau until we decided to review this.
I had.
I don't think I ever need to see it again.
I don't need to see this movie ever again.
But I will watch the documentary.
I will too.
So I would recommend watch the documentary And then if you're interested, then check this movie out. Basically, watch the documentary, and this movie is a footnote to a documentary.
But I would always say, watch the movie, watch the documentary. Don't do the documentary and then watch the movie.
I disagree. I say watch the documentary, and if you're interested, then watch this movie.
So we have a disagreement.
I don't think you could get through this movie without watching that documentary.
What I liked about watching the movie first is that I was like, God, that sucked. Then when I discovered the documentary, it really made it interesting to kind of go, oh, I remember that scene. I remember that moment.
We should also mention that this movie was produced by New Line Cinema, and this was a weird period where they were sort of trying to make themselves more legitimate as a studio. Yes. They were the studio that Freddy Krueger built, basically, in the 80s.
That's right.
So I don't think they had the sort of chops or the stones to actually like make this a solid production. But what's interesting is that 3 years later, they would try this kind of experiment again with Peter Jackson and Lord of the Rings to massive success.
Oh, that's true.
When you watch and think about like how this movie turned out, could Lord of the Rings possibly could have been like a similar disaster?
Yeah.
The Hobbit was, but that's a story for another time.
Oh, right, from the Force, like from the Force Awakens.
Right.
Yeah, we won't talk about that again.
I want to go to dog heaven.
So, Todd, what are our final thoughts on the Island of Dr. Moreau?
Most times, I keep the memory far in the back of my mind, a distant cloud. And you?
There are times when the little cloud spreads until it obscures the sky.
Most times I keep the memory far in the back of my mind, a distant cloud. But there are times when the little cloud spreads until it obscures the sky. And I go in fear.
Oh no, oh my God.